Hey guys, welcome to the channel. If you're new to this channel, hi, this is Nawin. I'm a second year medical student at CMC Vellore. So in today's video, we're going to talk about the top 3 most effective learning techniques that when applied into your current study routine can really ace your performance and using which you can really master your learning. So let's get started. So I'm going to talk about 3 most effective study techniques. Firstly, pre-testing or previewing. That is, previewing is actually a method in which you preview a subject or a topic even before you learn it. Let's say, for example, you have a molecular biology class which is coming in the next day. So you'll have to preview the chapter or the topic of that particular chapter before the class. Like, you can look into different subtopics of that chapter, which will give you an overall idea of what the chapter really is, and that will also help you in understanding the bigger picture of the chapter. And one of the most effective way that you can utilize this preview method is by something known as a testing effect or a pre-testing. That is, you'll have to attempt a pre-test on a particular topic which you are supposed to learn in the near future. So there was a research which was done and published in the Journal of Experimental Psychology in the year of 2009 on this pre-testing effect and how does this pre-testing really influence the learning. So the study included about 63 undergraduates who were randomly divided into 2 groups, and a 2-page study material was given to each of that group. So one group had to attempt a pre-test for about 2 minutes, followed by an 8-minute extensive study session, and the other group was given about an extensive 10-minute study session where they just studied the given study material. And when a post-test was made in order to compare the performance of these 2 groups, it was found that the group that attempted a pre-test even before learning it had marked 20% increase in their performance than the group which just read without attempting a pre-test. So this really shows great evidence how beneficial is the pre-testing method in your study routine is. And next, moving on to the next topic, which is retrieval practice or active recall. So this technique is really popular since 2009, and you can find tons of videos which is floating over the YouTube about this active recall. So this technique actually means that you will have to actively recall or retrieve information from which you have previously learned. Let's say you have studied a particular topic a week before and you have a test tomorrow or a day after tomorrow. So instead of just rereading the text or just relooking your book as a part of your revision, you can actively recall or retrieve the information that you have previously known or previously acquired from a week prior study session. So by that, you are trying to gather information from your brain, and that will really increase your memory retention and hence enhance learning too. So this also was proven by a research article that was recently published in 2020, which showed retrieval practice facilitates learning by increasing or strengthening the processing of information in anterior and posterior hippocampal regions of the brain. So the study included about 50 neurologically healthy students, and one group studied by traditional methods, that is traditional method of relooking or revisiting the book, that is rereading, and the group studied by retrieval practice. And when the results were compared, it showed the significant increase in performance of the group that read by or revised by a retrieval practice rather than traditional methods, and using a bold signal, which is usually a test which is done in order to assess the activity of different regions of the brain. So it was found there's a significant increase in the bold signals in the left and right posterior hippocampal regions, which says that the retrieval practice activates the areas of the brain more effectively than the traditional methods, and hence your quality of learning and memory retention is relatively higher than the traditional study methods. And then moving on to the last, and that's also a quite popular technique known as spaced repetition. So this technique can be done in 2 ways. Either you can equally space your revision sessions, that is an equally spaced repetition, or an expanded spaced repetition in which you gradually increase the days or the interval between your specific revision sessions. So in an experiment which wanted to know the difference in performance between equally spaced repetition and expanded spaced repetition, 250 students were selected, and that students were divided into 5 groups, out of which 4 groups studied using, they retrieved information using spaced repetition, and the 5th group served as a control group. So it was actually found that 4 groups who studied using retrieval practice performed twice as much as good than the control group. And at the same time, it was also found that the group that specifically learned using expanded retrieval practice or the expanded spaced repetition performed well and better than the equally spaced repetition. And also there are certain research paper which falsifies this and says that both are equally beneficial in the performance they yield. And yeah, so it may work or may not work for you, but ultimately the goal is spaced repetition, which is a great technique in which you can increase your memory retention. And finally, a golden tip that I wanted to give is, instead of just utilizing these specific techniques individually, try incorporating multiple techniques, and so that you can get a combined effect, and that would be beneficial to you, and you can reap almost the entire benefits. So that's it, my friends. And if you found this video useful, please consider subscribing and also hit that like button, which will really motivate me, and that's a point of appreciation for me for all the effort that I put in making this video. And see you all in the next video.